Welcome to Us Crazy Christians, where we uncover Christian myths and misinterpretations with common sense Christianity. I'm your host, William E. Smith, and today we're going to talk about my time with the devil. Stick around. Before we get started, do me a favor. Hit the like button. If you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And if you're a returning guest and haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? It's free. Plus, hit the notifications bell to be notified every time we post a new video. Thanks. I appreciate you. Now let's get into it. For over 30 years, I had been struggling with the devil and his demons. They would regularly talk to me. They would scare me. They would attack me. I would routinely be attacked in my bed while sleeping. They would smack me and wake me up out of my sleep. I would be knocked on the floor out of my bed. And there were a few times that I thought that they would kill me. But let's go all the way back to the beginning, when I was a very young child. As a child, I was very brave. I was fearless. I remember grown-ups saying that about me, like, man, Shelly, your son is just, he ain't scared of nothing. One day, my mom called my brother and I in from playing because she was very excited about a movie that was coming on TV that she had gone to the movie theater to see. In preparation of this movie, she had made us some Rice Krispie treats, some popcorn, and Kool-Aid. I remember it like it was yesterday. The movie was called The Exorcist, and she was very excited about it. She said, it's really scary, y'all. Y'all gonna be scared. She kept telling us to prepare ourselves, get ready. But by this age, I had learned that mom was a fibber. She had lied to me about Santa Claus. She had lied to me about the Tooth Fairy. She had lied to me about where babies came from. So to be honest with you, I didn't really put too much stock into mom's excitement. I was too old to fall for mom's tricks again. Let me take a side note, a brief detour. And I realized the more that I've said this to people that I am in the minority in this, or in the minority of the consensus of this, because I don't believe that you should tell your children lies about Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, etc. There seems like the mass consensus is that when you don't tell your kids about them, then you're taking away their ability to dream or their imagination. But in my personal experience, it seemed like it only caused me to distrust my parents, to not believe in them anymore, to think now everything they're saying was probably a lie. So maybe that didn't happen to you. Maybe it didn't affect you that way, but it did me, and I just can't imagine that I'm alone in this. So I never wanted my kids to distrust what I said. I always wanted them to believe that what Dad said, he meant it, or that it's true. And I always wanted my kids to trust in that, so I never lied to my children about Santa Claus or anything else. But you do whatever you want to do. No big deal. That's just my little side note. Let me get back to the story. So mom kept bragging about how scary this movie was, and she was excited. And I remember that even as I'm talking about it right now. And her excitement was contagious, so my brother and I are beginning to get excited now. We're ready to see this movie too. But as we begin watching the movie The Exorcist, the movie seems so far-fetched. This little girl like us is giving these grown-ups such a hard time. Now, her spinning her head around and talking in the deep voices and the spitting the pea soup out of her mouth, now that was unique because we hadn't seen anything like that before, but it didn't necessarily scare us. We just thought like, what is that? You know, it was different. Imaginative, I should say. And honestly, I wasn't afraid. The movie wasn't scary at all. And if my memory serves me correctly, my little brother wasn't afraid either. And this baffled my mom. She sat there just enthralled, just unbelieved, shocked that we were not scared and frightened. Occasionally, like when the music would pick up, mom would jump at us, try to scare us, and we just laugh or something like that, or maybe jerk because of her, but the movie was not scary at all. As a matter of fact, I remember my brother and I having different times where we were laughing during the movie, which again is just surprising my mom. I remember my mom asking me, she said, Bill, why aren't you scared? And I said, Mom, this ain't real. She swore it was real. And I just knew Mom was pulling the old Santa Claus on me all over again. And I was determined not to fall for this fib like I had for the others. So my mom began to try to convince my brother and I that this kind of stuff is real. She went into elaborate stories of things she personally experienced with demons, ghosts, witches, etc., all while growing up. I remember laughing at all the lengths my mom was going to try to convince my brother and I that this stuff was real. I remember just laughing in my mom's face, and she's so serious, like, really, listen, Billy, listen. And I'm just like, come on, Mom, cut it out. I'm not about to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. But at the time I was thinking, I'm not about to fall for the Tooth Fairy again, the Santa Claus again. I'm not falling for it. I remember my mom getting serious and like just really going into all these stories of these sad and scary things that happened to her. And then she says, you can call your aunties and uncles to verify what I'm saying. So we called her brothers and sisters right then and there on the phone. And to my surprise, they confirmed what she said. I remember the shock of hearing my aunt and my uncles confirming, saying, yeah, this did happen. Yeah, the man had fire all over his body just walking down the hallway, and just like, what? And there's no way they could, I mean, they didn't know we were about to call them about that. So it was shocking. It was spooky. I began to believe what my mom was saying. Up until this point, if I was afraid of the dark, it was only because I felt like a family member might jump out and try to scare me like they would occasionally do. Because I wasn't afraid of the dark normally. I could sleep in the dark. I didn't need a night light or anything like that. I had absolutely no fears of demons or ghosts or monsters in the dark until that day. My life changed almost immediately. I began to see the pile of clothes in the chair turn out to be somebody or something. All of a sudden, I would see something flash past the corner of my eye. I started hearing voices. I started going into dark places and feeling cold and eerie, like somebody was over me or coming near me. All kind of crazy things started happening. Now I was becoming keenly aware of demons or spirits, ghosts. And now I become a church boy, and we're going to church all the time, and I start to hear the pastor talking about demons and spirits, just confirming even more what my mom was saying. I began to notice demons more and more. I believe I was around the age of 13 when things started getting worse. I was asleep on the couch, which was actually my bed at the time. My brother had a bed in the other room, and I was sleeping on the couch. And he had a little small twin-size bed, and I had this little couch. So I was sleeping on the couch just so I could have my little separation from my little brother. And while I was asleep on the couch, I felt something just come across my face and slap me real hard on my face. And I jumped up, and I'm looking all around, swearing my brother had to hit me. And I'm searching all through the closet, mad, about to beat him up. Looking all around, I open my door, go all the way to the other room, open his door, and find him asleep in the bed. And so I'm still checking to see how did he get past me. He really not asleep, but he was sound asleep, and I freaked out like, who just hit me? My door was shut. Nobody was in the room but me. That was new. I remember not too long after that, I was asleep on that same couch, and I felt some pressure on my chest. And I woke up and opened my eyes, and as soon as I opened my eyes, I felt something kick me. I felt like 2 feet right here on the side kicked me and knocked me off the couch. And it was almost like somebody was on top of me, and when I saw them, they were shocked and jumped, and it kicked me off the couch and totally freaked me out. I mean, I was pushed, kicked like 2 kicks right to my side. I still remember it, knocked me onto the floor. And I remember thinking that something was happening, something was different. Another level of attacks were coming. And this was not too long after I got the smack in my face. I was also dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts at this time. I told a minister at church about what was happening to me, and he said that the devil knew I had a calling on my life, so he was coming against me to try to destroy me. And then he began to start telling me about spiritual warfare. how I could battle with those demons to stop them from destroying me. He started telling me about talking in tongues, binding and loosing, tearing down strongholds, pleading the blood. So now I was mad, realizing the devil was trying to destroy me. And that made sense. All of a sudden, I'm going through this anxiety and depression. I'm also having these physical attacks on me, and things are just going bad all around me. It made sense. The devil's trying to get me. So I went into warfare with the devil and his demons. As a matter of fact, I did a video about anxiety and depression and how I overcame that. It's called Defeating Anxiety and Depression, and I'll attach a link to that video at the end of this video so you can check that out. But whenever I felt attacked, emotionally, physically, spiritually by the devil, it was on. I fought back now. I would go into talking in tongues, rebuking the devil and his demons, tearing down strongholds. I'd walk around in anger, talking to the devil like he was standing right in front of me. I remember at times even punching the air while I was praying, and I could swear it felt like I was hitting him. And I continued binding and loosing, tearing down strongholds, rebuking, spreading anointing oil all over the place for years. I plan to do a video on spiritual warfare, breaking it all down correctly soon, and exposing some myths we believe about spiritual warfare that's not really scriptural. So make sure you hit the notifications bell so you know when we release that video. So spiritual warfare became an everyday thing. I began to see the devil's handiwork in everything. I could spot him a mile away. But his attacks against me seemed to get worse as I battled him in spiritual warfare. Around this time, I would routinely, about 3 times a week, be awakened with a heaviness on my chest, like someone was leaning on me and someone's hand was pressing up hard against my mouth so I couldn't talk, right under my nose so I could barely breathe. And this horrified me because now I realized that the devil was attacking me. And my response to his attacks was to go into spiritual warfare, but he was holding my mouth so I couldn't even speak. I couldn't battle. I couldn't talk in tongues. I couldn't plead the blood. I couldn't rebuke, bind loose. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do a video on talking in tongues also. We got some misconceptions about that too. I'm gonna break the scriptures down on that also for you. But because I couldn't speak, because I couldn't bind and loose and rebuke and talk tongues, this pressure, this holding of my mouth lasted way longer than normal. Almost like they were taunting me and I couldn't do anything. I would try to mumble and rebuke the devil and this really frightened me. It was like the demons got smarter. They knew that I would battle them, that I would go into spiritual warfare, so they realized just shut them up. It made me feel helpless. This went on for years. Sometimes I'd be in the room laying right next to my brother and I'm feeling like I'm suffocating, like I'm about to die, and I couldn't even move my body. I couldn't even reach over to touch my brother. I couldn't even speak to him to say help. At about the age of 17, I had reached a new level of being sold out to God. I just made a new dedication to go deeper and to be more sold out and a Jesus freak than I had been previously. I was actually preparing to go into ministry. I thought I might be a pastor or evangelist or something. I was getting ready to think about going to Bible college. And around this age, I would walk up to winos and knock their beer bottle out of their hand and preach to them. I would interrupt drug buys and all kind of stuff that sounds crazy now, but back then, I believe no weapon formed against me shall prosper. It was my duty, and I was just brave and fearless and foolish. There was a spiritual mentor in my life at that time, and he was the smartest man of God I knew at that time. I remember being at his house, and we were having a conversation about the Bible. And at the end of our conversation, he said to me, he said, Bill, he said, I can see that you have grown. You have gone to another level in your dedication and your focus about God. And he says, not only do I see it, but the devil sees it also. So you need to be careful because he's coming for you. He sees you on a new level and his attacks are going to be on a new level. So get ready, Bill. He wasn't lying. That exact same day, my life changed and would never be the same again. The devil seemed closer and would attack me harder than ever before. You won't believe some of the things that started happening that very same day. But you will have to wait till next week to hear about it. If you want to see more from us crazy Christians, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you're a returning guest and you haven't hit the subscribe button, what you waiting for? It's free. Plus, hit the notifications bell to be notified every time we post a new video. Please leave a comment and share this video with somebody you might bless, and this channel also. Is it possible that God is more loving, kind, and compassionate than we previously believed? Thanks for watching us crazy Christians. Until next time, be blessed.